Hey guys, afternoon, and welcome to our F5 scheduled slot this afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day, enjoying your virtual event with us. It's been a great day so far. My name is Gareth. I'm the vendor business manager for F5 at Westcon, based in Auckland. Just a couple of queries around the Q&As we will be running in the background. We'll see if we can get to them online at the end of the presentation. But if we can't, we will get back to you thereafter. It's very, very privileged today to have Cara Sprague. She's the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Application Services from Seattle at F5. She's with us today, and she'll be introducing Kachero, who's the Senior Marketing Evangelist. He's based in Tokyo, so we've got a real worldwide little gathering today. So she will be going through a couple of slides and handing over to Kai. So over to you, Cara. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gareth. And hello to everybody. Excited to share with you today some findings from our State of Application Services research. And what our research tells us is what we already know, especially through this recent pandemic, which are that applications are the engines that power the global economy. Every business and every industry is becoming application-centric to move faster, boost efficiency, and deliver the enhanced digital experiences their market demands. Each year, F5 asks organizations worldwide about how they support critical apps with application services. And this year, our respondent base was vast. We got respondents from several industries across all over the world, over 3,000 respondents. And our research uncovered 5 key findings. The first is that 4 out of 5 organizations are executing on digital transformation, with their lead objective being a faster time to market for their digital services. The second finding is that 87% of organizations are multi-cloud, and nearly half report that security remains a challenge. Cloud adoption continues to rise as organizations choose the best cloud for each of their apps, despite the challenge of managing security in multiple environments. Our third finding was that speed is coming from automation as well, and nearly 90% of our respondents say that they're automating their network in order to digitize business processes and improve efficiency. Our fourth finding was that more than 80% of organizations with high API call volumes deploy ingress control. Ingress control is part of a new generation of application services that help increase the pace of development and deployment. Organizations deploy ingress control, API management, and service mesh in order to operate, scale, and secure digital experiences in container and cloud-native environments. And then our last key finding was that 63% of organizations report that IT operations is predominantly responsible for their application services, with DevOps teams demanding ease of deployment. And as enterprises shift more towards collaborative org structures to drive their speed, DevOps teams are taking more responsibility for selecting and managing those application services. You can find more information on these findings and more in our 2020 State of Application Services report. And now I'm going to hand over to Kay to take us through some of the specific conclusions for A and Z. Kay, over to you.
Good afternoon. This is Kei Nozaki. Just call me Kay. I'm from F5 Networks. Today I'm going to walk you through some of the specific findings which Cara, who just introduced as the global findings in our most recent end user survey. And the agenda will be really simple, right? We'll be quickly sharing some of the data points as the beginning from the global perspective, and then I will dive into some of the specific data points for New Zealand and Australia region, which is quite unique if we compare to any other area of the global. And also we will end up with some recommended approaches to tackle some of the challenges that we have found, and hopefully you will enjoy that. And just before starting, I just wanted to apologize one thing here, that it is really my bad habit, but I have lots of slides for 20 minutes time slot for today. So I might be a little bit quick, might want to skip some of them, but I just want to share as much as I can to cover, just because those are really great findings. I'm sure you will love it, right? So that's a little caveat for today's presentation. But let me just kickstart with the global trending things and the findings that we have found. So just to echo what Cara just mentioned, right? The application itself are the businesses nowadays. It is the consistence of the business logic to be implemented into the IT infrastructure. So the application logic, the behavior, everything that inside is the business itself. This is, I think, something that every single human being is going to be agreeing if they're in the businesses nowadays, right? And we also we start with some of the simple questions around digital transformation in this end user survey. So how and why are they doing digital transformation here? And what the interesting thing is that this is quite consistent over the several years during the last few years. But indeed, the top priority, the biggest reason why the organizations are doing the digital transformation is all about to increase the velocity of the new services and products to be launched into the market. It's really about the go-to-market, right? So that's a really significant priority. It's quite usual and also quite consistent for New Zealand and Australia as well. And if you think about what kind of foundational technology, which we call application services, to establish the IT infrastructure, can it be like a solution for available or solution to be accessing, controlling the access and identity? It's going to be security. Usually, the top things that is on mind of all the respondents will be security here. So security is the biggest concern and challenge and the interest of most of the people when it comes to the infrastructure of the application. How will they going to support the application, right? This is also global findings. And inside the security, more and more people nowadays do care and concern about the application layer security, which means the security that exactly protects the application logic, application data path as well. This is also quite common, and it is actually increasing almost every year, I would say. And one other thing, especially for this year, that we have found as really interesting trend is that, in this application area, sorry, I don't know why, but I have lost some of the text here in this page. But indeed, in the green box in the middle, it says ease of use, actually. So the new findings that we have found for this specific year, which is year 2020 report, was that top thing was security, but the second concern and the influence that the way people is going to choose these solutions in the infrastructure world, it's all about ease of use. How easily can they use? How quickly they can deploy? How easily they can manage and operate? So that's the biggest, that is becoming the increasing concern and topic for many of the organizations, which is quite interesting, right? And I wanted to emphasize this part, the ease of use, because it is really interesting topic nowadays. Many of the research firms and industry specialists are talking about the democratization of the IT. And it's tightly connected to how easily people can use the solution. It is a democratization, right? It's not something that for the special people, but any of the business people can use it. That's the idea here that is underlined. All right, with sharing some of the specific things from the global perspective, let me move on to how the New Zealand and Australia region are different and unique. First, for the foremost, I can proudly say that New Zealand and Australia is the most advanced market in terms of deploying the emerging technologies and moving forward with digital transformation. Many of the stats and findings shows they are way ahead of most of the region in Asia Pacific, and not only inside the Asia Pacific, but also globally, even with North America. I just bring up some of my favorite topics here. The first one is all about the number of the application. How many applications are you deploying in your own environment? And New Zealand and Australia says 40% of the respondents have more than 1,000 applications. This is almost double of the average of the global things, and obviously the highest among any of the other regions. And also, when it comes to the collaborative approach in the digital space, API ecosystem is going to be a really hot topic nowadays. And with that, we also ask, do you have API gateway deployed to control those API communication? And 80% of the respondents in New Zealand and Australia said yes, while global average was only around 60%. So this is also the high number, right? And last but not least, moving on to the new application architectures, including microservices and some of the cloud-native services, the number was 30% respondents who is saying that, yes, we have deployed, we are looking for it, while the global average is still around 20%. So with these three examples, I just want to share with you that New Zealand and Australia are really aggressively looking for the emerging technologies. But this is not only the good news, it also can be a little bit of a caveat, and let me tell you why. Because in these findings, we have also found interesting responses and sentiment from the respondents in New Zealand and Australia. This is one thing. Only 7% people says the application can be their strategic competitive advantage in their business space, which means not so many people think the business application can be strategically an advantage for when it comes to competitive comparison with their competitors in the same market, right? It's really odd because in this previous page, we found that they have more than 1,000 of the application. They have lots of the business applications, but they're not feeling that those applications are no more helping them to be differentiated among the competitors. It's really interesting, right? And I can surely tell you that this is just because it is really mature and advanced market. Everybody is so mature. Everybody's so emerging. So that is why the competitiveness in the market is becoming even more tougher, right? And also, more than 50% of the applications are moving to the cloud by the end of this year, actually. This is something that people says that in Australia, New Zealand and Australia, 36% of the people says yes, while the global average 26%. Which means that we have lots of the application lying and to be deployed in various environment, which is great, but also it means the apps are sprawling now. So these are not necessarily bad news, but some sort of a caveat that we might need to keep in our mind that because of the advancement of New Zealand and Australia market, you guys can be one of the few those will be facing the newer type of the challenges, new type of the struggle to deal with these kind of new topics that needs to be somehow addressed just because you guys are marching all the way down to the digital transformation, maybe at the earliest timing ahead of the world, right? And obviously, when we talk about the security, New Zealand and Australia respondents has really high concern about the security and also around some of the public cloud skill set as well. So there is a skill set concern across many of the areas, but security is one of the highest things, which is going to be the great segue for me to move on to today's main topic here, right? And the key takeaway before we move on to the actual conclusion here. From this survey, what we have found is security is really the top concern, top topic for many of the people to be cared when they're going through the transformational challenges in the digital space, and also the skill set itself, right? And obviously, let me just tell you again, since this is really important, that New Zealand and Australia region is really leading the digital transformation, leading to deploy the new emerging technologies. This is great news as well. But there are some sort of a caveat we all need to care about, right? And before moving on to the best practices and recommended approach, let me just emphasize that the full version of this report is available on our f5.com website. There's a link here. After this session, I can assure you that you will receive the copy of this presentation. So go through it again, and if you're keen to learn more, go to the website and download the full report, right? All right, so with those all in mind, let me move on to the approaches that we are exploring nowadays, especially when it comes to the application security space, right? People might see one of the typical application security solution can be some sort of CASB or WAF or those kind of things. And people usually have some sort of a typical mindset that traditional solutions like a firewall, web application firewall, emerging technologies like a CASB or those cloud-based solutions, they have specific form factor. And each of the solutions have really kind of a default form factor, like a cloud-based or a hardware-based or software-based, right? But I just wanted to let you know that, at least from our point of view, lots of our end users and customers are looking into the same technology that can be applied into the different environment and to be deployed within the different form factor. This is just one of the examples that we have chosen one of the best security solution called Web Application Firewall. It is true that we still have lots of customers using this Web Application Firewall in the physical appliance form factor as well. But if you can see here, we have expanded a vast licensing model as well, and also the really different form factor. We also have virtual instances. We made the exact same technology available in all the public cloud, and we partner with AWS to support AWS WAF with our specific solutions, and we're part of the Agile Security Center. And most importantly, we also have cloud-based solution WAF as well, which we just announced back in March this year. And one thing that I wanted to introduce quickly with using the rest of the time today is all about this self-services cloud-based WAF, because we have reinvented the user interface to ensure that this solution can be usable for any type of the people, not only for the security expert, not only for the networking expert, even the business people, even the marketing, even sales guy, even developers. They can use it because we have simplified. We have hide all the unnecessary details and make it available for any type of the people. So this is the approach we are taking, and this is exactly the thing that I want to tell you with closing off this session today. Security itself is a concern, right? And application security itself is a concern. And by the way, I have to agree with you that application security is the area where many people feel it is a complicated things, and it is, right? So it really requires the expertise. But that does not mean you have to be the expert to use it. Now we are trying to open up the door and democratize these complicated solutions for any type of the people that can be used. So this is the approach we're taking. And for the sake of time, we're not going into details of solution product today, but I will highly recommend you to go through this web page where we can start a quick trial, free trial, to go through how easily you can deploy this application security from our F5 networks. And this is based on our philosophy of the application code is creating the game changer in every single industry. This is our philosophy. And we see the application is really a center of the businesses, and that is why we're trying to help the application to be secure and always available and always fast. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. So Gareth, probably I'll hand over back to you.
Yeah, awesome, Kai. Thank you so much for your presentation there. Some really insightful pieces there and seeing what's happening, and glad to see that us in Australia and New Zealand are ahead of the curve in a way. I haven't seen too many questions coming through, so if there is anybody, we have got a couple of minutes. If there is a question or two that anybody has, please feel free to pop it in the window, and we can pass it on. We have got a couple of minutes left. Cora, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, or?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So the two quick takeaway, right? The data points we have gathered is really something that gives you a really good insight, or maybe actually triggering the discussion in your organization or even with us as well, right? So I highly recommend, again, to download our worldwide report, State of Application Services report. And also, if you're keen to learn more about this easy-to-use application security solution from F5, there's a free trial website that you can go there and quickly start. Within 5 minutes, you can deploy this great technology. And obviously, it's for free. So that's a two quick takeaway from my side.
Thanks, Kay. And just to add a couple takeaways from me, we've been working with a number of customers over the past several months, especially as they had to adapt very rapidly to the COVID-19 situation. First with expanding remote access solutions for folks to accommodate their digital workforce and digital access from customers. Secondly, to expand infrastructure and capacity so that you can meet the demand, the new demand facing all of your applications, given remote workers and the customers accessing digital channels. But the third thing that customers are now looking for is enhanced help with security. As customers and employees see digital channels as the primary way of interacting with companies, digital security is primary. And so really encourage everybody to take a look at your security portfolio and how you're thinking about protecting your applications, because they need that protection now more than ever. Thank you, everybody.
Great, guys. Thank you very much for your time, both of you. It's been a pleasure having you on the call. If that's it, thank you very much, and we hope to hear from our partners soon.